yo, or other ho, ho, ho. And welcome to our special festive edition of Shotgun The Aux. We're back. It's your boy Tom. I'm here with Aidan, as usual, and man like Jake as well. You could tell by my slightly dated Christmas jumper. It is, in fact, Christmas.
Are you hot?
Man's never hot, man. Yeah,
what day is it?
A bit embarrassing.
What day is it?
Well, this is coming out on Christmas Eve, right? So let's just say it's Christmas Eve, even though it's actually a week before, just to get that out of the way. But
listen, man. What was the point at the beginning of the, when I arrived? You said let's say it's going to be Christmas Eve, but then not actually let it be Christmas Eve, but make it really bait and
let everyone believe it's Christmas Eve.
I don't know, man. Because also, if you really think about it, if we were actually doing this on Christmas Eve, it'd be quite fucking sad, wouldn't it?
No, I think quite cool.
So anyway, I didn't have a Santa hat, so I'm rocking this obnoxious Supreme panel cap just to piss off Jake. Jake's got on his red frilly underwear with Santa on the crotch, and
yeah, bro.
And Aidan's dressed as a sticky bandit, so we're all kind of in the festive theme. So just to kind of give a brief intro, we're going to have a little bit of a talk and a recap about how the podcast started out in 2019, where it's taken us this year, and then most importantly, we're going to go into some of our albums of the year, because there's been some fucking bangers this year, hasn't there? But first, before we get into all that, what have you boys been up to? How's your year been? Got any nice plans for Christmas?
It's been a busy old year. We've done a lot, and I've gone through my phone and looked at a few notes from years back, but a year ago.
Yeah,
when we started our first few episodes when we kicked off the podcast.
Yeah, man, it's nuts, isn't it?
You know, there's some funny. Yeah, it's nice to look back on these things. You know.
So the first few episodes we did were on an iPad, weren't they? And we kind of didn't know what the fuck we were doing, and we still don't really, but we kind of muddled through it. But we touched upon some pretty good topics, didn't we? We did music videos and beef and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was just Aidan saying, "Why don't you just reach out to Res One and try to get someone on the podcast?" And then we did that, didn't we? And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
It happened.
Yeah, man.
It snowballed since there. We've just been fucking rocking it.
But I still like how the first we kind of grew from the Bournemouth scene as well. In terms of there's such a strong scene here in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But it's quite disconnected, isn't it? In a sense. But there's so many labels. You got Come True. You got Inner Meth. You've got Easy Life.
Yes.
And it's cool seeing them all do their thing, man.
Yeah, man. They've been working hard, especially Easy Life. Easy Life being hitting a hard. Mel's just dropped on your album, didn't he?
Yeah, Top Floor.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to it. Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I've listened.
Is it good?
It's got Slummy on it as well.
Is it?
Slumrock and Zell on the track.
I think you said, didn't he, when he was on?
Yeah, it's good, man. So yeah, big up, Mels. And
you two, what are your standout Shotgun The Aux moments of the years? You two. Not to say all of them are great.
Mine is this moment because you've turned up.
Man, special guest, isn't it?
Touche, yeah.
Jake is our special guest
today.
I'm going to do some race and bars later.
You're featuring on our own podcast. So I reckon I've had a lot, but Big Daddy Rap Beast has probably had me in fucking hysterics. So if you haven't seen that episode, go and check it out. Big Daddy Rap Beast, he's a MC based in Portsmouth, isn't it?
Portsmouth, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
no, it was a big Southampton fan, wasn't he?
Well, you'll have to go back to the episode and find out why that's funny. But
I watched a YouTube film with him in it. Yeah. He was in a YouTube film.
A film?
Yeah. In a film, and Tenchi was in it as well.
How do you mean film though? Do you mean a documentary or
No,
an
fucking about an hour and a half film.
About what?
Huh? Basically, I messaged someone that you've probably already got one of my little. I'll slide into your DMs, trying to plug the episode and getting you to check out. But yeah, I sent
you said
it
was the equivalent of handing out a mixtape, didn't you? Just to
I think
gloss
so.
over
Yeah.
that.
I think
sending links. We're not bots.
You're getting our DMs. You subscribe to the channel. Hit up that Yeah, so I sent a message to someone just saying check out the channel, and he sent a message back saying, "Oh yeah, you should big up Tenshu and Big Daddy Rap Beast, and he was they were in a film."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And he sent me a link to it, and I watched it. It's actually all right. Basically, it's about this. It's set in Portsmouth. I think it's set in Portsmouth. It's set in Portsmouth. It's about this drug dealer that basically goes on a self-destruction fucking
A path of
rampage,
self-destruction.
path of
Yeah.
self-destruction, getting fucked with his head and just shagging loads of birds.
Who's that played by? Big Daddy Rat Beast.
No, Big Daddy Ratbeast actually plays himself, and Tenji plays himself.
That's mad.
They're playing in a club in Portsmouth, and halfway through, right, basically they have beef with the main character.
Yeah.
And they go into a chippy and beat the fuck out of him.
Oh, I have to see this.
I thought it was a great film.
Right. More
but
importantly, what's it called? Do you remember?
Find the link now. Quick.
I can find. Do you want me to tell you how it ends?
No.
well,
It's got a really like twisted ending.
All right.
But it's a pretty good ending.
What, a
like-
twist ending or a twisted ending? Like, as in fucked up?
Well, both. I
Oh,
think
well,
both.
wow.
It's pretty twisted.
I'm
yeah.
intrigued, man. I'm
Yeah,
intrigued.
I think you should check it out. And anyone else? I mean, I haven't dropped the title yet, so I don't know how you're going to check it out. But
Yeah, how would
I will find out where it is.
Why don't you just put it in the episode description,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Go check out.
Yeah, so I'll probably say like Big Daddy Rat Beast is probably like my most like the funniest episode we've done.
Mate, he was such a joker.
Yeah.
He was so fucking funny. What was that bit when he was just like, "Yeah, I'm not a nonce."
I don't know. He was talking about the term beast being like more widely used now.
Speaking of
as
nonces,
in-
actually, sorry to cut you off there. What was that you
Talking
said
about yourself again.
you said earlier about us being Santa Claus?
Oh, what? Harrods?
Yeah.
Yeah, $1,000 a day.
That is mad.
All right, so
you can be-
elaborate on that a little bit.
Sorry, yeah. I was watching some Harrods thing last night on like Channel 4, a Christmas one. And they're like Santa's Grotto in Harrods, where obviously man dresses up as Santa.
Yeah.
He gets paid £1,000 a day to do that.
Damn, man. How do you even get that job? Do you enroll in Santa school? Do you
Yeah,
have to
like
like be
in
the
The
top?
Simpsons.
Yeah, like the top of your class in Santa school. That's
I don't know, but that was
That
like,
happens in
was-
that first episode. He
Does it?
he becomes
that
Santa,
would-
doesn't
that
he?
could set you up for the year.
Yeah. Well, what, $1,000? Like, a day. Yeah, good point.
£1,000 a day. If
What?
you're doing that for a month.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
That's all right.
Makes me ask
I
the
hope you
question why you don't do that, because you have kids sit on your knee for free, bro.
Oh,
Right, so best moments of the podcast. So we've got like Big Daddy Rat Beast, obviously like an interesting character. I'll tell you who else I really rated when he came on was George Bucks. I think like
yes.
he kind of subverted expectations of
Man like
kind of a
Bucks.
normal interview. You know,
Yeah.
he kind of threw out some curveballs. He had a lot of interesting things to say, and he didn't like. Yeah, he was very unorthodox with it, man. I think he's got an old head on his shoulders.
What was the drink that he was drinking?
Oh, it was Ruber tea, wasn't it? Ruber tea. He was drinking Red Stripe, Rubicon, and tea all mixed together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. He's a cocktail
Some
connoisseur.
mad guy there.
He is, man. He is.
He's doing bits. So has he started his own label?
No.
Or
So
what has
he started up. It's called like a DIY artist union. So he's basically invited kind of either musicians, rappers, artists,
Yeah.
creative types, just to kind of like form a group and chuck ideas about. I think.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty sick, man. I like it. I rate what he's doing. But
that's cool, man.
yeah, he released a really sick EP this year as well. Did you listen to that?
No,
You didn't.
it's gonna sound really bad, isn't it?
Yeah, just a bit.
No, I'll be honest. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. Do you know
Yeah,
what it is?
It is what
mate?
it is, man. That's
Do you
what
know
it's
what
called.
it is?
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And I go back to this all the fucking time, man. There's so much. Literally, I swear, every other day there's a good album dropping, and to actually like listen through to albums, listen through to like podcasts, watch YouTube videos, and just to stay current. Because I think
You got to enjoy it as well, haven't you?
yeah,
Do you know what
yeah,
I mean?
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying like I don't enjoy any of it, but I think doing this podcast, in order to actually do this podcast and sort of actually be able to talk about shit and be able to like discuss stuff, you kind of do have to educate yourself a lot
Of course you do.
and stay current with what's going on in like the local scene, whether that's UK rap, UK hip hop, UK grime, whatever, trap. Just understand what's going on. For example, in order to talk about Top Boy, you've got to watch the entire season of the series
Yeah,
of
I
Top
hear
Boy,
what
which
you're
is
saying.
like what is that? Fucking 10 hours, 10 hours of investment to
big
be able to have a
investment.
conversation about it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
man.
strange, isn't it? But
I actually
and
think
also-
you can skip the first bit of Top Boy to
Nah,
watch
you
the
gotta
second.
watch the whole thing.
I know you do, but
gotta
I-
watch the
Before
whole
we
thing.
get into Top Boy though, but I mean like what you were saying now, I think that's a good point because like you can't digest everything because you need to obviously like otherwise you don't have a conversation. If everyone listens to it, then you can't educate someone else or like recommend something. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you've heard it as well, fine. Rather than like, oh, cool, have you discovered this album? No, I haven't yet. It's in the queue. Otherwise, it'd just be like, you know, everyone. It's good to when people ask questions or like are none the wiser about something. I think
because Jake,
otherwise there's no discussion.
Because Jake was telling me that he watches makeup tutorials.
Nah, bro, let me elaborate.
It's all right, mate. It's fine. It's 2019 now.
So, don't watch the makeup tutorials, but there's 2 vloggers that Emily, my fiance, watches, and she will be watching them, and I'll start watching them with her, and they actually vlog some pretty like they don't vlog makeup, they vlog like other things, but because they used to vlog, or I think they used to vlog makeup anyway, these makeup brands pay fucking bare money for them to go out to like Bali, America, like go to all these places to be like almost like an ambassador for like, I don't know, like this brand. So they vlog like these trips, so then like, and all the kind of like accommodations that they get paid for, and like this one sick one was in Bali, and it makes for like pretty decent content. Or they do other random shit like, I only eat McDonald's for 24 hours, or what's the most I can fit in my basket in Tesco in 20 minutes, and they'll just go around and like but it actually makes for like some decent vlog content. So,
all right, man.
Yeah, bro. None of it is makeup, but it just is what it is, isn't it?
That being said, then actually, if any makeup brands do want to sponsor Shotgun The Aux,
yeah, and send us to Bali.
Send us to Bali. I would go to Bali, mate.
Yeah, man.
But talking about
I'll wear a
Shotgun The
full
Aux
face
on
of
tour,
makeup if it gets me to go to Bali for free.
You'll make a full face of makeup at the
I am.
weekend, mate.
Yeah, I'm wearing it now. Can you not tell? That's why the lights are.
So a couple of good moments from this year, I think, is when Shotgun The Aux went on tour. So we've been to Croydon.
Croydon was a stressful day because
That was a stressful day. Aidan, do you want to tell us about that day?
Aidan had an interview on the way to my Stiggy, didn't you?
Yeah, so I applied for a job, and
How's that job treating you?
yeah, so I didn't get the job.
And he just wasted our time.
After all of that, I didn't get the job, which I was pretty gutted about. But to be fair, it would have meant me fucking travelling like an hour every single and a commute for like an hour there, an hour back. So kind of happy I didn't get. Well, I'm not happy. I'm pretty gutted I didn't get it, but I'm trying to pretend that I'm happy.
Yeah, so I
and so I had to go. Obviously, prep my interview, get to Tom's and all suited up with my little book of like interview shit.
His book of lies.
Yeah, my book of why you should hire me, and obviously that backfired because they didn't hire me. Came to Tom's all suited up. That's the smartest he's ever seen. Do you know Tom's only actually seen me with a hat, without a hat,
much.
like twice.
Yeah,
once, twice. Your stag do, innit?
Yeah, man. I think.
Oh
so.
shit! Yeah, we had your fucking stag.
Mate, so right, just to
come back to the stag.
Just to draw back some like context of this year, it's been fucking insane. Besides this podcast, I got married. And with the stag do, obviously, and in the second half of the year, I almost fucking died. So it was no shit. I was like fighting.
Both very funny moments.
Yeah, I was like fighting sepsis, and then no shit, and then like Jake texted me and he was like, "How's the sex change off?" I was like, "Yeah, thanks, mate." But so yeah, it's been a bit of a fucking roller coaster,
Mate,
and I kind of glazed over it though. Do you know what I mean? Like I kind of like
Do you know what? This time next year was when I met you.
Was it? Yeah.
It was around this time like last year.
Last year, not next year.
No. This time last year.
It was
this time last year
was
when I met you. Obviously, me and Jay came up with the idea of doing the podcast, and initially you were never meant to be involved.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do wish you weren't involved, but I'm joking.
It was on his birthday, wasn't it? You met him.
Was it on your birthday?
Yeah.
I think
It was not on your birthday.
It was near my birthday.
It was literally it was not even like the day before.
We did not come round for like our first meeting on your
No. It was like the day before because I remember buying him those
before.
little elephant beer.
How was
things.
it?
Yeah, delirium.
Delirium, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
We had a little.
And I remember saying to you in the car, it's his birthday by the way, and you were like, oh, and I was like, mate, it's the first time you were going to meet him, so I wouldn't worry about buying him like those gifts and shit.
Yeah, man.
And then it just went from our friendship just blossomed from there.
Yeah, exactly,
Tom
man.
has actually become like my partner.
Yeah, life partner. Hetero
he's
life
come
partners.
Yeah.
Tom got married to Aidan.
Because platonic love between two men can exist.
Yeah.
What film's that from? That's from Wayne's World. You're not going to get it.
Back to
That was
your
a good.
story, Aidan.
What
Your
was-
interview story.
Oh yeah, shit. So
You didn't get the job. Next story. Come on.
Yeah,
Nah, mate, 'cause it's more than that. It's
why,
deeper than
why
that.
you got to fucking bring that shit up again?
Because this is
then-
like the military operation.
Then
and
yeah,
then
so I was
Tom's-
running out of the interview just like gas because I was like, yeah, I fucking smashed that. Obviously, I didn't smash it, but coming out into this fucking business park. Next thing, just see like Tom and what's his name? Jake.
I don't remember his name anymore.
Tom and
He
Jake
never turns
fucking
up.
screech past in Tom's big VW. If you've ever come pick us up, you know Tom drives a fucking beastie big VW.
Don't give all my details away, mate.
So yeah, they come pick me up. We drove to London. Oh yeah, you bought me the worst fucking sandwich in the world. I forgot about that actually. You
So
bought me the
so,
shittest
right,
sandwich.
Let me go into it. So when Aidan was in the interview, me and Jake went to get some food. I think it was Sainsbury's or Tesco's.
It was an Asda.
Or an Asda, whatever, one of the big three. And we were at the sandwich aisle, and I was kind of like,
Asda has a good selection.
I was just like, what do you reckon, a BLT or like chicken and bacon? And then Jake was adamant. He was just like, nah, Aidan's definitely a vegetarian. He's definitely vegetarian. I said, oh, right,
Yes.
okay. And he goes, and what did we get him? Got him like a fucking egg sandwich or something. Or,
Nah, what was it?
What was it?
No, it was just like a cheese sandwich.
Cheese
It was just a cheese sandwich.
The
And it's,
shittest sandwich possible.
no, cheese. That was it. Cheese and tomato, man.
Yeah.
And do you know what? You can get cheese and tomato. Toasties are banging. Like cheese with whatever, like sauce and shit is
Like a
banging.
Plowman.
Like when I went to Boomtown, man, I literally lived off cheese toast. Actually, that's another story.
Jake was just so fucking adamant that you were a
the
veggie.
thing
He
was
just
is-
like, oh, I've seen him order a veggie breakfast once.
Yeah, like the
therefore,
day after your stag do,
Ergo,
he
he
orders
is
a
vegetarian.
veggie breakfast.
Yeah.
Because I like a veggie breakfast, man.
There we are. He's a
Yeah,
veggie.
man. Ergo, you must be a vegetarian.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's just eating a banana. He's a fucking veggie. He's a vegan. He likes nuts.
yeah, enough about your sex life.
So that was an eventful trip. What was my other story that I was about to get onto?
I don't know, man. But
Talking
yeah,
about the time me and Tom first laid eyes on each other.
Yeah.
Bristol
exactly.
was our other road trip.
We've been to Bristol a couple of times. Yeah, there was Rez, there was Lazy Eyes. I think they're the only 3 times we travelled. But yeah, it's good fun, man. Long day recording.
New York next year, Rock Nation, isn't it?
we going?
Yeah, bro. We were invited to Jay-Z's little birthday the other day. But
So,
Actually,
so,
do you know
so,
what?
so
I quickly want to talk because I was about to say, we should go and interview like Suge Knight. But can someone update me on this beef that's happened between Suge Knight and Eminem? Because that's quite current, isn't it?
I thought it was Nick Cannon.
it was Nick Cannon
But didn't
and Eminem.
Suge Knight
but
have something?
Suge Knight's,
Wasn't he on the phone in prison or something
Mate,
like
I
that?
have no idea,
or
man.
it's
I
his
don't
son.
even really.
His son's a wind-up match.
To be
anyway.
honest, man, like, I don't really like.
I don't
you
really.
can miss me with that now. Like years ago, beef was good. Like now, it's just like ugh. The only losers are listening to it. Do you know what I mean? It's
Oh, do
like,
you know what? It'd be,
No,
good,
I'm
be
saying-
good if there was a podcast that talked about hip hop.
Do you know what I'm saying though? But anyway, on that note, so guests we've had on this year, who have you been the most surprised by? Like in terms of like I guess kind of like what we've been talking about. Someone who surprised you, like unpopular opinions, popular opinions. Like who do you think is someone you think, oh man, like you're not what I expected you to be?
Do you know what? I think every single guest that we've had on are people that we haven't actually met prior to that. Apart from maybe you, obviously, I think you may have met.
I know Mo Sick, yeah,
but
big up
apart
Mo
from
Sick.
that, so every single person that we've had onto the show, we don't even speak to them apart from like through social media and whatever. Excuse me. That's disgusting. So yeah, we don't actually speak to them. So like the moment they kind of walk through the door is when we first meet them, and it's just like, "You all right, mate? How's it going?" And then it's kind of like I think the first time that I've sort of met a rapper or that I was a bit like, okay, thinking that they were going to be very much right. You go here, you go here, you go here. But they're very much at the same time. It's like obviously it's our podcast, so it's like well they don't really know what to do. Do you know what the maddest one for me was? Well, not maddest one, but one of the maddest ones was meeting Cosm.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the first rappers we had on. But I just remember walking into your kitchen and Cosmos, I didn't ever realise how fucking big he was,
Yeah,
man.
he's
He's
a big guy,
a big guy. I
He's
walked into
built
your
like an
kitchen
80s phone.
and he is built like a fucking fridge, man. With his like all his Carhartt gear and I was just like
He rocked up with G-Man as well, didn't he? His
yeah.
So they got some stuff cooking, man. Like just off on a slight tangent, like Cosm released a teaser for the upcoming Iron Statue album that he's got coming out, and it was like a posse cut track.
Right.
And it had like that kid was on there, Merkers, another like local head. He's stay tuned for the podcast. Mick Swagger was on there. You got Cam was on there. He just dropped a really sick track with Verbs.
Yep.
Relly was on there, and who was the other one? Anyway, the God was on there, and it was just like a banger of a posse cut.
Yep.
And it's just kind of like it's sick listening to the fact that like people we've had on are working together. Do you know what I mean? Like the likes of kind of like Cosm and Mick Swagger and people like that, and you kind of think, well, 3 of these people on this podcast have been on our podcast.
Yeah.
I find that quite nuts, man. I think it's like building like a community.
I don't want to say we're the catalyst between most UK hip hop collaborations, but we kind of are. No, I'm joking. That's a piss take. There's a joke. Don't quote me on that. But no, it was pretty mad to see like obviously them getting together through just checking the podcast.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think the reason we wanted to do this because we all like hip hop and none of us can rap. So,
yeah, exactly.
So we thought, why not do something that's slightly different?
I think that's it. And the initial concept behind the podcast was just like talk about hip hop, have a bit of fun with it. Then obviously like when we started getting guests on, it was like to champion like up and coming artists.
Yeah.
But then kind of mix it with like getting more established people on. So
Yeah.
getting more established artists on is obviously great to kind of like drive people to listen to you.
Yeah.
Because typically when you're listening to a podcast, you're scrolling through a list of episodes until you find someone you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how it works. But like, I'd like to encourage like people who haven't listened to our entire back catalogue.
Yeah.
There are so many good conversations on there with people who are like more unknown and up and coming because like they've got loads of good stuff to say. They're looking at things from a different perspective. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very true. I think everyone we've had on has been so interesting, so down to earth.
Like, remember that Bear kid who came on, who's almost taking your job as an audio engineer?
Yeah.
And
Bear,
man,
I'm watching you, guy.
Bear is a fucking cool kid, man. He's like
he knows his shit.
He knows his shit. He's got a lot of like interesting perspectives.
Do you know what?
He works hard. He's got a real good passion. He's a lovely guy.
Oh, if anyone's looking for beats as well, go to Bear.
Yeah,
every
man.
single time, every single morning, like when I get up, I go look on Instagram, scroll for my Instagram. I swear, this would be like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Just look for my phone 2 hours ago, 4 o'clock in the morning. Bear's posted up. He's just working on some beats. I'm just like, this guy is just he's just relentless.
But
So,
yeah, man.
couple people I was gonna mention, little throwback, Colonel MC,
Oh mate,
the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah. What a guy, man.
Yeah.
What a guy. And again, it's like,
Solid dude.
yeah, being kind of, I guess when we started this out, it wasn't intended to be like a UK specific podcast, but it's sort of evolved that way. It's like we found a niche, and a lot of the guests we have on there obviously are in that. But I think it's cool having people on from kind of like, different backgrounds, different countries, different areas. Because hip hop is universal, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the first guest we wanted was Eminem.
Yeah, but he wasn't
didn't reply
available.
to any of our phone calls.
He
or
was
emails.
bleaching his hair.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, Colonel MC, man, what a guy, really cool guy. Just had that positive energy, didn't he? He's just like was a proper music fan.
He just radiated positivity.
And the stuff he makes is such like a palate cleanser, like because it is kind of uplifting and like happy music, isn't it?
It's fucking festival music, mate. It's
exactly.
proper festival music.
What did you
liked
call it? Afro swing or something? Or like I can't remember what you called it.
New Zealand swing.
What?
You called it something like this style of music. I can't remember what it was. It was a while ago, obviously, so you probably forgot.
Electro swing.
Electro swing.
Electro swing is my jam.
Yeah, man.
There's nothing better than being in a situation at a festival and listen to some not Afro swing.
Get it
some
right, mate.
some electronic swing. It's good. Man.
Another one, Leo Wild.
Yeah, man.
His Razor Bars was sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's
yes.
little Razor Bars.
Good
His
time
album
bars,
was
man.
really good as well. Actually, I rated that.
Yeah, man. I think
Was it an album or was it an EP?
it was an EP.
EP.
But it was that was banging, and that's available on Spotify and stuff.
All
Like big up
Other
those
streaming
Shaolin,
platforms are available.
big up those Shaolin Monkey guys, man. They're like all of them are really really talented guys. Like I remember Rayman came on and Rain MC now. Ben, he's like dope grime artist, dope hip hop artist.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of really kind of introspective tunes. I remember having a good chat. We had a good chat about Plan B with him, didn't we? But you could just tell he's just like kept in touch since. He's just like a general like music fan. He's got like a lot to him. Likewise with like Moo as well. I thought Moo, out of the Raise the Bars we've done, he's got the most kind of like unorthodox, unique flow, I'd say. Like when he rapped, I was just like, you don't hear like many people rap like that in that sort of cadence. And I thought like, come on,
Right.
Moo.
Oh, mate.
Did he Oh, I can't. Did he spit over that Kendrick beat?
That
No, it
was
was
a,
no.
yeah,
It was
that
it
was
was
an
the
interesting one.
Moose spat over that. It's a franchise. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. But he was really cold with it. The Kendrick beat was Aieti, wasn't it?
Yes.
And
was a
do you remember
sick
that? Aieti's raised the bars in the summer, and he just like
Yeah.
was outside, just like rapping non-stop, just for like. However,
Yeah, that was the longest raise the bars. That wasn't a 16.
I think that's what kind of prompted us to call it Raise the Bars, because it was like every person who went on was kind of like trying to better kind of like better one another.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of like came through with it, one take, that long, and we were like, fuck man, like yeah, that was cold. I showed that to a few people and they thought like he's got a bit of like common to him, like as in the same kind of cadence and stuff.
I had a nice bit of beef that episode.
What?
On the barbecue.
Oh
What?
yeah, mate. You
What-
can't
where
just
did
lead
that
with
just
that.
come
Beef
from,
rib.
man?
Was it beef rib?
I can't remember,
I
man.
can't remember, but that you cooked that so good, Tom. Well
Thanks,
done.
man.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
Hats off
that's-
to you, bro.
I love a good Saturday podcast, barbecue, beers,
Good weather that
some
day.
bars. Yeah, man, it's got to be done.
If we
what's-
ever mentioned you, apologies. We're only touching this, the start of this episode. We might mention you in a bit, but
But there's been like, I think everyone's like,
just to put it out there, public service announcement. Don't
I think everyone's
you're all good, all right. We wouldn't have got you on if you were shit.
okay. But like, who's been your favourite? Like, raise the bars. Have you had one, or
They're
like,
not favourites. They're like children. These people, we know.
They're not our children. That's
It's
weird.
like part of our Shotgun The Aux family.
like you can't,
can't
choose.
choose.
I think it
Can't
just
choose
comes down to the
favourites.
ones that Jake was there for.
Yeah, if I turned up, you're probably one of my favourites. If I wasn't there, then I don't. No, I'm joking, bro.
So Gemini was the name of Leo Wilde's EP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. But yeah, man. So
Who's the favourite raise the bars? Do you know what?
What episode of Raise a Bar? What was the question?
So can we just edit or just turn Jake's mic off? Yeah. So what was your favourite raise the bars, or what like standout bars were there where you thought like, damn man, like this guy is fucking killing it?
I think
Top of your head.
one of my favourite ones was actually probably Skirmish.
Yeah, man.
That was hard, man, and that was like one of the first ones I think we recorded. One of the first ones, anyway.
Yeah, he's stand-up guys get skirmish, man.
And that was a cool one. Yeah, when we went round it, so we obviously going back to my story. Thank you very much.
What story is this?
The story of the cheese toast sandwich.
Oh yeah.
The terrible, horrific cheese sandwich that Jake and Tom got me. Well, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. It didn't taste bad. It was just the fact that
I'm not accepting any like responsibility for that decision. It was all
I'm
Jake.
only taking responsibility because the last thing I ever saw you eat was a veggie breakfast. Obviously, like, it's probably more of an insult if I got you something filled with meat. And I know you do like a bit of meat, Aidan, but not in that context. You know what I mean?
Right, anyway.
But I thought it'd be more of an insult because then you've got a sandwich you can't eat at all. So I thought I'd play it safe. I'll get you a cheese sandwich.
actually no, Verbs is one of the favourite.
Yeah, man.
Verbs.
Verbs. So he the bars he dropped, it was over a Slips beat, wasn't it? Mr. Slips beat. And
Oho something. Oho Rojo. That's the restaurant, isn't it?
I can't remember, man.
Ojo Rojo. That's a,
Isn't that the Mexican restaurant in Bournemouth?
yeah.
I used to work with the owner of that. Little
But
fact.
but yeah, those bars that he dropped, it's the verse. So Verbs' latest album, and we'll probably get onto this when we talk about the 2019 releases.
Yep.
It's released Pathways,
Yeah.
and that's through Group Brazil, which is Moriarty's label.
Yeah.
So Moriarty from Blah.
Oh,
And,
I didn't know it was Moriarty's label.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's a track on there called Sweet featuring Nuff Said, and the bars that he dropped in our Raise the Bars video is the verse that he drops on that. So when the album dropped recently, I was listening to it and I messaged him. I was like, these bars are familiar, man. Like, big up. Because I remember, I think that was like one of my favourites as well.
Yeah, I
think
enjoyed
Verbs
that.
generally is like just. I think he's just everything he touches turns to gold, man. I think like he's just got that. I was watching I think it was that Paraphrase video, Compound, and with my mate Adam, who made a cameo on the Skirmish episode.
So hang on. Go back to that episode.
So we were we were watching like that Paraphrase video, and he was just like, damn, man, Verbs has got that real kind of like distinctive, recognizable voice. Like you hear it and you're like, that's Verbs. Do you know what I mean? I think he's sick. But yeah, going back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so Adam replaced me because again I was vacant for that episode. I don't know where I was this time. I can't remember when that was.
Big ads, we need you back.
I think I might have been at Drake. Yeah, it might have been that.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
Drake, wasn't it?
And so Skirmish, I missed that one, and Tom was like, "Oh, you need to meet him. Like, you get along really well." And obviously, we met. We were there. We recorded in his house when we went to My Stiggy in Croydon, and then we did the top 50 episode afterwards. And yeah, me and him, like, big up yourself.
What
man,
car
'cause
crash that was?
yeah, but
the
we
top
shared
50.
very similar top 50, so it was kind of like me, him versus Tom, and Aidan just didn't really.
Do you know? Do you know like one of the biggest things I've learned and what I like about like interviewing UK hip hop artists? So like people who you wouldn't expect to be fans of certain artists
Yes.
are fans of certain artists.
Yeah.
I.e., Skirmish loves like Drake. Do you know what I mean? And Joe Budden, ironically, is in his top 10 rappers. Do you know what I mean? And Skirmish is obviously best known for Rhyme Asylum, like a horrorcore UK hardcore hip hop outfit. Do you know what I mean? So for your typical kind of UK hip hop fan, they probably like, and we had this conversation. I saw like a Rhyme Asylum fan page post like, I don't know, like a bars video, and they were just like, yeah, this is real hip hop, like fuck Kendrick Lamar and all this like fucking like like commercial bullshit. And then like
That's an interesting.
and then it's just like okay, and then Skirmish, me and him having a conversation for like 20 odd minutes about how much of a genius Kendrick is and how he's like legit like one of the greatest in the game right now. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like it's a learning curve you have. There's definitely like a
Question for you, Aidan.
Yes, mate. All right.
No, I've got a
I would like to say something.
No, I just want to ask Aidan a question.
Oh, I'm bored of listening to you now, Tom.
You just had to
For
say
someone
that.
who's like a grassroots UK hip hop fan, like you, that's where you started. Like, unlike most other people, we normally kind of start from like maybe the more mainstream US stuff and then come onto that and whatever. But from someone who very much a grassroots UK hip hop fan, this year must be quite surreal for you in terms of some of the people we've met and all the shit we've kind of done. So have you got any like shit that's happened this year and you've like highlights for you?
Yeah, man.
So, yeah. This year, I think my music taste is sort of expanded a lot. I went into this year with very much just all about UK hip hop, UK music as a whole, and just I had a love of like drum and bass and that sort of thing, and it didn't really expand past that, but doing this podcast and speaking to a lot of people, do you know what I find the most interesting thing is a lot of UK hit, and this is just through speaking to a lot of UK hip hop heads as well. A lot of UK hip hop heads will have the same opinion of, you know, just listen to UK, just listen to UK.
Yeah,
because
man.
if you like that, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If you want to listen to UK, like, you know, listen to UK. But what I found was really, really interesting is that some people will kind of dismiss other people or other rappers because they're not UK rap. And then you speak to the people who you speak to the UK rappers,
Yeah.
and they're a lot of the times it's like, okay, so what UK rap do you listen to? It's just like, I don't really listen. I don't really listen to any UK rap. A lot of the stuff I listen to is American, and the reasoning for that is just because that's sort of what they enjoy, and in some cases the style of more US rap is a lot more developed. For example, speaking to Res One,
I was going to say Res One was the first time I think.
So he
that happened.
enjoys to listen to a lot of US rap, listen to French rap, and also listening to fucking Cuban music.
Yeah, man.
You know, and I think
He got me into like the Buena Vista Social Club, man.
But having that interest and having a wide interest in music, I think, does actually help your style in a sense, because it's a definite palate cleanser because you can come back to it and you can really appreciate a lot more what goes into it. Because if you think about it, a lot of like UK hip hop, UK beats is a strong use of samples. With technology, we are going into less samples, but at the moment, it is still a lot of samples. And you got to think, a lot of those samples do come from random sort of genres of music, from prog rock to blues to jazz to everything like that.
Yeah,
And it's all come from all of that music, and all of these people, they're not listening to UK stuff in order to get influence. You listen to a lot of other music because there is a risk, as if you're listening to a lot of stuff that you're making, then you start to replicate that without
we have that
thinking so.
conversation, don't we? It's almost like, do you subconsciously take influence from other artists and you don't even mean to do it, and how do you avoid that happening?
Yeah.
Because naturally people do, like, especially with hip hop, it's like derived from like a certain sound, but then all music is. Do you know what I mean? You have like, that's happened since the inception of music. You know, people are always going to draw influence. People are always going to like emulate. People are always going to like pay homage to. Doesn't necessarily mean they're biting it.
Yeah.
But
it's like that D Smoke who won that Rhythm and Flow, and I showed you that.
Yeah, because I said
he's from like Inglewood, and he definitely has that Kendrick vibe and era.
But that's like I guess like a testament to like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
You know, when you're getting these kind of, people, whatever you say about Kendrick Lamar, I mean, you're wrong, because he's incredible.
He's someone that I've started to really rate recently.
But mate, he's incredible. But it's like all these kind of, not like clone artists, but artists with similar cadence. So you've got like Sylvan LaCue, you've got like Jids, you've got like the guy you just mentioned from that show, and you listen to them, you think like, oh, that's kind of a Kendrick sound, and that's like proves that he is that influential. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so I think that like, Kendrick is particularly influential, but I think it's a good point, man. Like meeting people in the UK scene, they got a lot of love for hip hop in general, not just the UK, but ultimately, and I think that kid said this when he was on the podcast. He said that it's usually like a younger audience, and when you're younger, you're more kind of closed-minded. And everyone's guilty of that. Everyone's kind of guilty of. Everyone went through the phase where they're just like, nah, man, fuck that commercial shit. I only listen to underground boom bap. It's like, no, man, there's so much good stuff out there. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
you don't need to close your mind like that. But
it's when you come
aggression.
And when you do come into a genre and you come into something that you're interested in, you're naturally going to be loyal to it, aren't you? For example, like if people, then it's the other way around as well. For someone that's just into 90s US hip hop, you're going to throw away everything else, aren't you? You're natural. If you're solidly into, if you just come into US and you're fucking loving US, and you hear UK, you're going, nah, I don't listen to that. Or Australian hip hop, I don't listen to that. Because you're sort of loyal to that. But then I think, and going back to that kid's point, as you get older, and as you start to understand it a little bit more, and actually figure out, well, actually, these people aren't listening to the same music that they're making. They're listening to other music, and then
I guess it's just like, I guess as well, it's just people listen to music for different reasons. Like, I think we talked about this in one of our first episodes, like UK versus US hip hop, and the fact that a lot of like there's a UK hip hop audience because it's what they're listening to is more relatable to them. Yeah, and that makes complete sense. But as a genre of music, you need that kind of wider context that is derived from the US. You need to understand that it draws influences from a lot of different places. And the beauty of hip hop is the fact that it is universal. And like I said, anyone can do it, but not everyone can do it well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not just kind of going to make that throwaway comment and just say anyone can do hip hop, because I don't believe that's true.
Well, Tom tried, didn't you? Used to rap a bit.
Yeah, man. I was exactly, man. I was the biggest, baddest MC this side of Dorset.
What was your rap name? Comey the Homie.
It wasn't. To be honest, it wasn't. It wasn't even that inventive. Oh yeah, do you remember when Aidan thought that Gimps were gigolos or vice versa? Because we were talking about juggalos, and he was like, "What's a gigolo?" And he was like, "Isn't that like someone in a black sex outfit?" And I was like, "No, that's a gimp." Okay, so next section we're going to be talking about most important part is our top albums of 2019. So it can even be kind of like favorite albums, or like spoke to Aidan about this, like albums that stood out. Granted, there have been a lot of heavy releases this year in hip hop. There's been a lot, so it's not like an easy task at all. But we're just going to have a go around the table and talk about it. So who wants to kick off proceedings?
Not me.
Jake, well volunteered, man. So Jake,
No, you two go first. I'll go last.
Okay.
All right. So, oh shit. So I will straight up say that I think it was really difficult to actually say what's your top albums because I don't know. There's been so many releases, and naturally your brain is only really going to think about the last album that you may have listened to or your most recent album. You're not going to remember. I'll be honest. I can't remember any albums that I listened to at the beginning of the year because things move so quickly, isn't it? And stuff drops, and then you have like a million other things that go past, and it's like holy shit, that only dropped a week ago. Do you know what I mean? And,
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But I'll quickly run through very quickly. I'll put in 5 albums.
Okay.
And these 5 albums I would say are the albums that I rated the most and probably just enjoyed the most and bumped. I would say these are albums that I bumped on repeat a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good way to quantify, man.
So
Yeah.
one of the first albums is an album called Green Diesel by Kojak and Luca Palmer. So they're
Kojak's the Irish guy, right?
Yeah, they're 2 Irish MCs. Recently, actually, Off License, big up Off License Mag. Is it Off License Mag? Big up because they did a little bit with Kojak recently. Go and check that out if you haven't already. And he dropped an album called Green Diesel. It's a bit different from his previous album. I would say the beats are quite similar to like quite fast, to more alternative rap rather than hip hop. It's not UK hip hop because it's Dublin, but it's more rap and alternative. And I really rate that album. Bandana, we've got it on the table. I think that's probably one of everyone's favorite albums of the year.
Yeah, man.
Easily.
It's definitely up there.
Confessions of a Crud Lord, again, that was an album that I bumped on repeat.
Yeah.
Big up that kid. He came down to the podcast. Annoyingly, he dropped his album on the day that he was coming onto the podcast, so we had to try and listen to the album before he came on.
But he dropped a couple of tracks before that, didn't he?
Yeah, of course.
Crud Addict.
Eagle Court again. Really rated that album. That was really recently. Big up you guys for coming on, and also Coastline to Cityscape. From
was that out this year?
That was out this year.
Was it?
Yeah. So I
sick
put that up in my in my list, and I think the running theme of my albums and the stuff that I've been really actually enjoying recently is for me, for my taste in music is very much down to obviously the flow and the beats.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying that sort of like 808 typey beats. So a lot of hi hats, quite fast tempo, similar to like the Compound sort of stuff, Kojak sort of stuff. That's really I'm really getting into that recently.
Compound's album's like a hybrid of quite a few different sounds. I think and we had like that conversation with One Drop, didn't we? That he's kind of like a one-stop shop, and he like his original rap name was One Stop because he can rap, he can produce, he can mix, he can master, and yeah, man, that album's got like some absolute heat on it.
That's the sort of sound
flows
that
really
resonated with most recently.
But I think like there's a lot to be said. Obviously, that was released on High Focus, but like Yogo Cop, man, like they've got like such a good roster. I think if you listen to kind of some of the stuff with like Vitamin G and Illiterate, and like One Drop's featured on some of that stuff as well, and like Halves the Toad and those guys, I think like they've just got that really unique sound. But yeah, that Eagle Court was I think that's a lot of the listeners' favourites as well.
Yeah, for sure, and it's what's really good is because High Focus were the one. High Focus obviously put out the album. High Focus being a very influential label, and it's opened up. I think it's opened up a lot of people to a newish. It's not a new sort of sound because it's been around for a while, but it's opened up a lot of UK heads who primarily will listen to traditional boom bap, which is a lot of the High Focus roster, which is nothing bad with that, nothing wrong with that. It's still good music, but it's opened up into a new sort of sound, which allows maybe for some really interesting progression to happen.
Yeah, man, it's good to have there's room for all styles in hip hop. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, they can bar as well, so they draw on those kind of on that boom bap as well, but they have like trappy beats. Like it's moody. It's not just kind of your usual kind of like, yeah, man, I'm just like blazing weed and whatnot. And it's cool.
I dig it.
I rate what they're doing. Yeah, man. Is that your?
That's my top 5, man. And
so you had Freddie Gibbs and Madlib.
Again, that was an album I bumped quite a lot. I really enjoyed that album.
I went to see him, man. It was insane.
You never said about that before.
Yeah, I just got to get it in again. Yeah, it was album of the year. But yeah, I think it was it recorded on an iPad? I think that's what the.
Fuck off, was it?
No, apparently so. Yeah.
No.
Madlib did it on an iPad, but who cares if it sounds like that? You know.
Well, we all good things start recording on iPads.
Yeah.
But it was a good album, and I think it's hit a lot of. Because I'll be honest, I wasn't aware of them before that album.
What, Madlib?
I'll be honest, I wasn't really aware of them.
What? Okay, I mean, Freddie,
And that's probably my my bad. Like again, not being that's again me being in a bit of a bubble music wise.
But
I wasn't really aware too much of them. And
Madlib produced Mad Villainy, which is like the seminal hip hop album.
Oh yeah, I listened to that, man. I listened to that a long time ago. Oh, I didn't really know of Madlib.
All right. Freddie Gibbs, I can understand maybe, but like Madlib.
Tom's giving me like the weirdest evils right now. He's just looking at me like, what the fuck? Why do I talk to you, man? You know fuck all about hip hop. I only talk to hip hop heads.
Oh, it's all right, mate. It's all right. You're learning. No, mate. I think you got some really like solid choices there.
Some interesting. It's a mix, man. It's a mix, and I think that kid's album was a highlight for a lot of people this year.
Yeah,
because that went off. You know, it's a big album as well. How many songs on that album? There's a lot of songs on that.
Yeah, he got the obviously the Griselda features on there as well.
Yeah,
saying like Leaf did a good job getting those on there.
Yeah.
That
Leaf.
Briefcase track with West Side Gun, Eyes with it was Conway. Yeah, it's just really well produced, isn't it? Like fucking artwork sick on here as well.
Oh man, I love the fact it's in the church as well, and the Versace shirt, man.
That is a sicko piece of artwork there. I do rate that.
Yeah, man.
Rate the album.
Yeah.
Tom, what's yours? Go on.
Yeah, right. So Freddie Gibson and Madlib, Bandana. So you've got into that. Yeah, I just think like Freddie Gibbs is just. He just fucking oozes steez, doesn't he? Like he's just got so much charisma.
He's a cool guy.
That latest video they dropped as well.
Did you see? Did you watch Kenny Beats?
No, man.
Oh, I did. I'll link you up.
Oh, it's not the one with like the yellow background, is it? Where he did.
Yellow background. What?
Yeah, it's like a YouTube channel, and he just like was barring. And there was like
it's a YouTube channel. You go in with a producer called Kenny Beats, and
right, okay.
Yeah, basically he drops some beats, or he makes like a beat like on the spot there. And then the artist that he has in goes in and does it. He did one with Slow Tie. Slow Tie was in there recently. Fucking killed it, man.
All right.
Slow Tie.
See, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't bring up Nothing Great About Britain, because I thought that would have been up there for you. But we can go into honourable mentions afterwards.
Do you know what? Because that album came out at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I guess it. Well, yeah.
And I think it's just again that was an album that I bumped a lot.
Yeah.
And I just again it's so hard to pick this. It's so hard to choose. Like for example, Ignorance Bliss by Skepta.
Yeah.
That album I bumped on repeat for ages.
Yeah.
So actually I'm going to put that into my top 5.
You don't have to restrict it to 5, man. You can just as you said, you can just say like what were you bumping?
Right, let's do a top 50 right here.
Yeah, right. We repurposing this shit. Yeah, I reckon so Freddie Gibson, Madlib, that was up there. Did you watch the Tiny Desk concert they did that came out?
I think I watched. I didn't watch it now.
Nah, because Dave did one as well. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I watched Dave. I rated Dave's as well because man,
we'll get into that. Cause I've got a feeling that that's all that Jake's going to talk about later.
Yeah.
It's the only one I can think of.
Right, Tom, go next one.
So that kid, Confessions of a Crud Lord, I think from a UK perspective is up there for me. I just think like the kind of dynamic between like that kid and Leaf worked really, really well. Production's on point. It's like pure unadulterated fucking crud from that kid. Just like dirty bars. You just know what you're going to get with him. Really, really good, well picked out, well thought about features from Griselda as well, which complement each other. Another massive UK hip hop release for me was Juggernaut and Jallow Point, Back to the Grill Again. He's a Nottingham-based MC. I think he's just like one of the best in the UK. Really, really, really well produced. Jallow Point also was recently on. He recently produced Michael Parkinson's album that came out on last Friday, the Magnum Opus. And I think he's even like working with like Vinny Paz soon. I saw that he was doing. And he's a sick producer, man. Sick producer. So yeah, Juggernaut and Jallow Point, Back to the Grill Again. That's definitely up there for me. probably worth mentioning. I still haven't had like enough time to fully like digest it yet, but one of the best yet, the Gangstar album that dropped earlier this year. So obviously, like it was a big kind of point of discussion when DJ Premier released that little teaser when Nas was just like, "Yo, what's this? A new Gangstar album coming out?" And then it just broke the internet. That track Diamonds with J. Cole dropped, which I personally loved. And then the album came out shortly afterwards, and it's dope. I'm happy to have it back. I think it's crafted really seamlessly, and I'm just kind of blessed to have another Gangstar record, to be honest.
Yeah, that was
because you were talking about the kind of the estate and all the kind of like ins and outs of the sample rights and stuff, weren't you? Or the Guru's bars.
Yeah. So there was an interview that DJ Premier did on Sway's Universe. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out because it is really interesting. You get like he does go into a lot of the sort of shit that happened afterwards with Gangstar and obviously Guru, and it's some interesting stuff. But it's quite sad as well at the same time as like the dark side of hip hop because. To sum it up, for people that don't know, from what I understand about it, so who was it that fucking owns the rights to it now then? What's his name?
Remember. I can't. You did mention, but I can't remember. Man.
But yeah, some dude sort of befriended Guru, got power of attorney, and basically signed over all the rights to a load of his vocals to himself.
Was it DJ like Solar or something?
Something like that, yeah. And then obviously sadly Guru passed. And since then he's just owned all. He's just had like a vault of vocals, which could have been used for albums for DJ Premier, and yeah. So it's because there was never an end to Gangstar. It never ended. There was never any end. It didn't break up or anything like that. It always kept going, and there was no bad blood or anything like that. I think they just grew apart.
Yeah, there was a bit. I think. Yeah.
I heard it was just grow. They just sort of grew apart.
Well, I think there's probably more to it than meets the eye, but they, it all obviously.
But yeah, that was an interesting album. I enjoyed it. It was good.
Do you know what I mean? When it's still fairly recent, isn't it? Like I don't think it's had enough time to ruminate yet.
Yeah. I would you'd think that an album that's made entirely out of vocals, that an album that's produced entirely after one of the people has passed.
You think there'd be a fundamental issue, wouldn't you? But
no. Do you know what? And this may be the unpopular opinion. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anything amazing about it.
Do you know what?
But
right?
I think that's because it isn't.
Do you know
it's
what
all
as well?
pre-recorded stuff.
I get that. I think as well is like Gangstar is very much like of a moment in time. Like when it came out in the 90s, it was obviously like really innovative. It was fresh. They were doing something completely new. And then when that's kind of like Guru's bars are like juxtaposed against like say J. Cole's.
Yeah.
Guru's delivery is quite simple. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna. He's fucking levels. Obviously, it's Guru. He's a legend. But like compared to like, I'm not even gonna say like today's standards because that's a throwaway statement. But like in that Diamonds, I think it was Cosmo I was chatting to you about this. So in that Diamonds track.
Oh, do you know what? I really rated that track. I really enjoyed it.
This is what I mean though. So Guru's bars were like the simple kind of Guru delivery, and then J. Cole comes in. And he's kind of like pulling all these like complex metaphors out of the bag, and kind of like the rhyming patterns are a bit more complex, and it's like you kind of think, oh, like it almost kind of not overshadows like Guru's like kind of cadence and flow patterns, but it's like a weird kind of juxtaposition.
Do you know what I think?
Struggle to get my head around it.
Do you know what I think? I think if Guru was alive today, the vocals would be completely different.
Oh yeah,
completely
probably no
different,
doubt.
and I think there'd be a lot more developed and a lot more technical.
You never know, man.
That's just my opinion.
It's hindsight, isn't it? You just never know. It's like
I think the vocals fit the time.
Yeah,
the vocals fit the time.
Nutshell.
However, I think a lot of I generally believe that a lot of MCs from that time, if they were rapping the same way, if they rapped the same way they did then, and did as they do now, it wouldn't compete with today's sort of rappers.
It depends where you were. because I mean, like you could argue that in America, the best MCs came from like the golden era and like the boom bap era, like technically, and that's my opinion. I think there are a lot of really technically gifted rappers out now, but I think it depends on what you want to listen to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that like the older dudes would wrap fucking rings around some of these younger heads, but also it just depends on where you're coming at it from. If you're looking at kind of more kind of lyrically charged, Jid, Kendrick Lamar, these kind of like kind of more new school rappers.
Yeah.
Then you'd have an argument there. J. Cole, those types of guys. But if you're looking at it from more kind of like I don't know, Jake, what's like a kind of contemporary US, not mumble rapper, but like artist who's kind of, at the moment, who's popular.
Yeah.
Let's just say like Travis Scott, for example. Do you know what I mean? Travis Scott, his music's very energetic, it's very lively, but technically, is he a good rapper? I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying.
No, I know what you mean.
But do you know what I'm saying? The guys back in the day would have wrapped rings around him. But that's
just
different times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't tie it together necessarily, and you shouldn't either. But yeah, back to my albums. The next one is Eve by Rhapsody. So that was a fucking sick album when it came out. Yeah, I think she's like one of the tightest like rappers at the moment, let alone like female rappers. I think like obviously she's got a history of like Ninth Wonder. There's some really, really, really good tracks on here. I love the whole concept behind the album being kind of like notable like black females throughout history. The whole vibe on there is amazing. The bars are insane. That Ittihad's track with D'Angelo and Juzza is just like everything. And let me see.
Tom's checking for his notes there.
Yeah, I am actually, man. So I don't want to gloss over this one. Billy Woods, Hiding Places, produced by Kenny Siegel. This is kind of a dark one. He's got kind of like I guess like Billy Woods is a very kind of like dark, introspective rapper. It's not the most accessible albums to listen to, but it just kind of pushes all the buttons for me, man. I thought that was a really, really sick album. You shouldn't sleep on it. Go and check it out. But yeah, to Aidan's point, there's been like so much fucking heat this year. I mean, like Foreign Beggars just dropped their like final album, Matriarchy, and it's incredible, man. It goes back to kind of the roots.
Do you know what? It's so bad again. I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
It only dropped last Friday, so you've got an excuse this time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I listened to Stormzy's album the other day.
See, I'm not like that big on Stormzy.
Oh my!
I used to like Stormzy like years ago. I'm not one of those kind of he's too commercial now. I'm just like don't really.
Something about him just doesn't quite click with me. Like it's I don't know what it is. Like
that's all it has to be, man. Do you know what I mean? But
it's just something's not there for me. And then this album, because everyone's going, are you going to get tickets to Stormzy because he's coming to Bournemouth next year in September? And I was just like, well, I've no interest in seeing him. Like his last album wasn't like didn't really do anything for me. And I was like, oh, maybe this album that's coming out now, maybe it'd be like really sick, and I might change my mind and might bother trying to go next year. But I did try and listen to it. And it's just like I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's like loads of shit, but it's just not. Like, I don't know what it is.
That's all it has to be, man.
Do you think so? Do you think it is the fact that obviously the Shut Up was what he did first? Shut Up was what he did first.
That's kind of what
and that's what sort of brought the attention to him, and that's what I think a lot of people thought. I really rate this guy. Nothing he's done has been sort of similar to that. It's all been he's kind of gone off and put out good stuff, but he's not repeated that. So his new stuff,
that's
I
always
think,
the way, man.
is always his new stuff is very melodic and style wise. I really enjoy it. It's technical. I enjoy the beats. I rate it.
And
man.
so should you,
but
man.
It's not like an album. Like I see what you mean. It's not an album that I'm gonna bump all the time.
Yeah.
I've listened to it a couple of times. I'll be honest. I'm probably not going to listen to it loads more. I'll listen to it on the radio and shit like that. And it has got some. I think it's got some really good tunes in it. And he has a he broke up with Maya.
Mm-hmm.
So he does it. He dresses that in the album, and there's a song entirely about it, which I thought was actually quite cool. The fact that he's been very public about it, and obviously he fucked up, didn't he? And he's put it all in a song, and he's told a story, and I really like that.
So I know fucking nothing about that. So it's good to have that context, I guess.
Yeah.
But so I was bumping Michael Parkinson and Jallow Point on Friday, and Foreign Beggars Matriarchy. That album is really sick, man. I'd seriously recommend it. You got like on the Foreign Beggars one, you got Black Twangs on there, you got Jess on there, you got like Dr. Syntax on there. It's just it's really well produced. It's produced by like a duo of producers called Seymour Beats.
Yeah, because we got sent a little bit of that, didn't we?
Oh man, yeah. It's
we got sent a little
I
early release
listened
of
to
that.
it before it dropped, man. It was
We got a little early release in
heavy.
that thing. Do you know what?
That track is gonna be fine with Dr. Syntax, and that kind of like
I haven't listened to
chorus
it yet. I need
on
to listen
that.
to it.
That chorus on that track is so powerful, man. It's just levels. It's just a really good way for them to like bow out on such a crazy, like unique career. Because you can't really kind of pigeonhole them as UK hip hop. They obviously started off making UK hip hop, but then obviously the
Dubai hip hop.
No, I mean like
Guitar.
they did a lot of like dubstep. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
We
of
spoke
course,
about
of course.
this the other day, didn't we, about the kind of like dubstep era in time.
Yeah,
That real point of dubstep.
Dubstep era is like proper like it's a proper like point in time, isn't it? Where it like hasn't.
It's just like came and went. It was boom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
So I'm glad they kind of bowed out with like going back to the hip hop stuff. But yeah, there's so many albums, as Aidan says, man. Like there are so many fucking good like even like this one here, like Ash the Author and Dead TBASI. So that's like Reading based Ash the Author. I think he's Bristol based Dead TBASI. Really like great. Does what it says on the tin. Really good boom bap. Really good bars. Really well produced. And then local boy Raiden, man. I've got to give him a shout out as well.
Man Like Raiden. We can't forget about Man Like Raiden.
Uninvited Scandal is a fucking sick album, man. It's got he's kind of cool, like slow moody beats, and he just flows so well over it. Big up Easy Life, man. I think they're fucking absolute levels. So like, Bournemouth, big up yourselves.
Yeah, big up yourself, Easy
I
Life.
keep listening. Like I listen to Radio 1 as I walk to work, and I always hear on like I think it might be like their artist of the year or something. Easy Life. And obviously, easy, like when we have them on, they always talk about like the easy life.
The other easy
fuck,
life.
fuck
the other easy life.
Fuck the other Easy Life. Big up Bournemouth Easy Life.
And I always hear it on the radio,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, easy life. I'm like, nah.
It's
the other
pound
easy
signs
life.
or nothing.
Yeah.
It's pound signs or fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But so big up Raiden, big up Easy Life. As Aidan said earlier, Mel's just dropped a new project as well. Big up Mott Man, who came on with Michael Parkinson, who dropped Everyday Craft. That's a sick album that dropped this
Man
year
Like
as well.
Mott.
Yeah, Mott Man's a good guy, man. Blessed guy. There's been so, like, to be honest, like everyone who's come through has made like big up Mig Swagger, Villionaire dropped as well. Like there's some absolute bangers on that album. Hulk Hogan is my jam, man. I think that's a really,
Do you know
really,
what?
really
I'm just gonna stand up. Just clap for all the guests that we've had on. Fucking big up yourself.
Yes.
I would stand up,
Mate,
I'm pretty
like, without you
rammed
boys,
in.
Yeah.
without you boys,
Yeah,
like,
we would.
we would not be where we are today. Like,
You would
thank
have-
you very much.
You just have this shit format every week, otherwise, wouldn't you? Like,
Yeah, we've had to retake this about 4 times because Tom's thrown a hissy fit because we haven't been organised.
yeah, it's basically true.
But no, like you guys, like we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So yeah, big up the guys that are coming through and that. Like,
yeah,
Big
big
up
up
yourself.
you two as well for like, you know.
big up you, Tom. Big up you.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, you know.
Have you finished your albums
You'd be
yet?
fucking nothing without me. All right. Anyway, enough of me. Have I finished what?
Have you gone through all your albums?
I have, man. I was going to hand over to man like Jake to talk about your album of the year.
Right,
No,
you've
no,
had
no,
about
I've
you've had
been-
about 6 hours.
I've been
Have you managed to
thinking.
decide on a couple of albums?
I would like to sit here today and talk about, or I'd like to sit here today and hope, and I would like to say that there's this year, JME's album's in it, but I haven't listened to it because I expect everything to come on a digital format nowadays, and I don't want to go out and buy a CD.
Oh my god.
So it could be good, it couldn't be, it could not be. I don't know. So
That is-
It's like
that
that
is
Martin
interesting.
Shkreli with the Wu-Tang album, you know, that no one's ever heard. Do you know that guy? You know, like the pharmaceutical mogul. He's in prison at the moment. He was on like Joe Rogan was talking about it because the RZA was on Joe Rogan's
Yeah, I
podcast.
checked that.
right,
I
right,
checked
yeah.
that. That was a good episode. That was.
So basically, this was it Martin Scorsese? He's like charging stupid money for this for pharmaceuticals, and he's just like a massive dickhead basically. But he owns this like one of a kind rare Wu-Tang limited edition album in a box, and no one's heard it. And he owns it, so like Joe Rogan's like, how do we acquire it? Can I buy it off him? Like, if he's in prison, like, can we see? Are his assets being seized? Like, what's going on? Like, how do I hear it? And then like RZA or the guy who was on with him, he was just like, it kind of adds to the mystery. Like, if you hear it, it won't have that kind of appeal anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought like, fucking hell, I'd love to get my hands on that album.
Where is that album?
Like an unheard Wu-Tang album, just
Isn't
in
it,
some
isn't
box.
it in a vault in like a bank or some shit?
Probably.
If
mate,
you
I
have
no
it, send
idea.
it to Shotgun The Aux,
Just
Bournemouth.
Of course, man. That's on his.
That's
top
our full address, isn't it?
That's on the top of his priority list.
Well, across the front of this video, you're going to see Tom's address.
Yeah,
Fucking
And
thanks,
mobile
mate.
number.
So yeah, back to you and your
And Grinder account.
Right, what's your favourite album, Jake?
Right. Obviously, I'm going to kick it off with Psychodrama.
Okay.
Album's
What's that then, mate? You never talk about it.
Album's lit. That's such a good album. Big up Dave.
What's your favourite
yourself,
song
man.
from it?
Huh?
What's your favourite song from it?
For my favourite song? I don't know, mate. Like, I keep it in my head all like last month is Streatham. And the only bit that goes around in my head in a loop is I grew up in Streatham. And it just goes around my head in a loop.
I rate that album. That was a good album.
Yeah,
and
to be
Dave's
fair,
good.
like, I'm gutted I didn't mention it, but I was just holding off because I knew Jake's got a boner for it. So
I do, mate.
no, it's a sick
like,
album. Like, it is.
I got it on vinyl, which I framed, and because honestly, the vinyl artwork is it's on a matte black background on like an electric blue, that like kind of fiery ghost thing on the front.
What, is it a nice record?
Like visually?
Is it? Oh, you've never said that before, man.
Well, I haven't. This is the first time I'm saying it. I've got photos and that.
Yeah, I know. We have the photos.
Yeah, exactly.
I think every couple of weeks we get to say, oh, mate, look how sick this looks.
Honestly, it looks fucking sick. And Revenge of the Dreamers through. The only two I can think of.
Who?
Revenge of the Dreamers 3.
Yeah.
Like J. Cole and
Right,
gang.
right.
Okay.
It comes with its own little documentary. Even Aidan liked it.
Yeah, I rated that documentary. That was a
so
good
out of
documentary.
all the albums you've listened to this year, it boils down to those two.
So I was going back, like, if I like an album, I'm obviously gonna, like, on Apple Music, I'm gonna download it so it's on my phone to listen to. So I was going through my downloads for this year, and they're the only two on there from that are like from this year. I've got like loads of old grime which I've put on my phone this year, and then Apple Music did your 2019 most played songs, and most of it was the 1975, and they haven't released an album this year. And then loads of old grime tracks, and then yeah, that was it. And I'm like, what the fuck have I listened to this year? And then this year's gone so quick. I'm thinking of albums that come out last year, like Anderson .Paak's. Not the
mate.
one he released this year, the one that he released at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Is it Malibu?
No, that was his.
That's the one.
Anyway. He had Yes Lord and he had Malibu, and it's.
Yes, loud.
Yes, loud. What's it called? I know exactly what you mean, man. But you know the Free Nationals, you know his band. They released a new album that came out on Friday, and
Right.
like Mac Miller was on there. Like obviously, like you know, as a feature.
R.I.P.
Unknown Mortal Orchestra, they're like one of my favourite bands. Not hip hop, obviously, but fucking incredible. But yeah, that was great. And Anderson .Paak was obviously on a couple of the tracks.
But what I was going to say, biggest flops of the year,
Oh mate,
right?
Biggest flops. of the
How?
year.
Oh,
So
Ventura was this year,
Ventura.
and Oxnard was last year.
Oxnard, yeah.
Yeah,
So that was an album. I was like,
So
yeah,
I drove through Oxnard on my honeymoon this year,
yeah,
man.
that was sick. But that was obviously last year, so that was that. But biggest flops of the year. So Chance the Rapper's album was something I was looking forward to, because I quite like Colour and Burke and Acid Rap. I mean, I'm not a massive Chance fan,
shit.
but
Oh, the one that came out this year.
yeah,
Oh man, yeah.
honestly,
it's
it's
slated,
one of the
isn't it?
worst albums I've ever listened to. And I follow Chance the Rapper on Twitter, and he obviously retweets all his fans saying how great the album was. Really pissed me off because I'm like, it's not even.
He didn't retweet much for this one then.
No, this was for that album. They're like constant retweets, like,
Oh right.
oh, this album's so good, I love it. And I'm like, it's too long. I think it's about 1 million tracks. About 1 million tracks. That's too long for an album. how many tracks is it? About, I don't know. It's a long
So
album.
it's a lot of tracks, man. And thing is, I've got a very, I think we're quite similar in our music, not similar in our music taste, Jake, but similar in the way that we can consume it. We're quite open, into actually like if it's an album that you rate. Or if it's an album that's like good, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I always
yeah.
think there's a difference between an album that you actually like rate and an album that is like, okay, I enjoy it, so I'm going to bump
Yeah.
it because it's something that I
Yeah.
like and I like to bump it. But there's also a difference between an album that, you know, I'll listen to because it's been put out and I'll still really really enjoy it, but it's not going to be bumped on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Like that Rhapsody album.
Yeah.
You know, I've really enjoyed that album.
But it's not something you continuously listen
Yes.
to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and there's
I
no,
hear you,
there's
man. I
no,
struggled with
Yeah,
it
that's
this
it.
year.
That's
there's no
different.
reason why I don't. It's
Yeah.
just I just don't.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
also, and also, I guess like the sheer volume of music that's dropped. To your point,
Oh,
it's
for
like
sure, man.
It's like you almost forget some gems that have dropped. You're like, fucking hell, that was actually amazing. I need to like re-listen to that.
Yeah, the way I was thinking about it this year when you asked me about these tracks was like to Aidan's point that you've got albums that you like and you're like, this is a good album. Like, yeah, it's a good album and I'll listen to it. But then you've got those albums which are just like you can go to, you can listen just to whatever the time you like. I whack an album on, I'll listen to it. And when I was thinking about it, I tend to walk to and from work. And that's about what, a 45-minute walk, and that's a good album can listen in time. And I can't think of a time this year when I've like left work to put music on, and I'm like, I haven't got a clue what to listen to. From like, there's not an album from this year apart from those two I just mentioned, where I can just be like, go straight to it, put it on, and I can enjoy it all the way through, start to finish. It's just one of those albums that's sick. There are plenty of albums come out this year which are good, and I'll listen to them.
Yeah, man. And my favorite like album of the year, being completely honest, isn't even a hip hop album. It's like FKA Twigs Magdalene.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah,
fucking
fair play.
amazing. It's just so immersive. I was just like, just did like a Maida Vale session, like a live session, and it's just like, whoa, like
Do
it's
you know
fucking
what, mate?
breathtaking, man.
I'll second that.
She's
And,
amazing.
I mean, even though they haven't dropped an album this year,
Yeah.
I've been bumping like a lot of idols.
Idols, man.
Yeah,
Never
yeah,
fight
yeah.
a man with a perm.
Yeah, man. yeah, and like it's
Was that
yeah.
We watched
They did a
Tiny
tiny desk. Yeah. So Idols, I think they're from like Exeter, aren't they?
Yeah,
Something
Bristol.
Like that. Or
Yeah,
Bristol.
is it?
Bristol.
Yeah. But going back to Chance the Rapper, right? So that album, you know, I listened to it. And I thought, I'm gonna take your time. It's a big album. It's from a big.
Too long. I like the Kanye
Guy, but it's
7-track thing from last year. That's me.
It's just I think there was nothing about it that I could enjoy. I enjoyed it less than I enjoyed Kanye's album. Kanye's album, I could appreciate the production was tight. The production was on point. I really enjoyed the production side of it. However, the vocals.
See,
and
man,
the
like,
actual
until you just
lyric-
mentioned that, I forgot he even dropped that this year.
Exactly. It's just,
Do you know what I mean?
no,
Like
it
the whole
went in-
Jesus is King.
No one.
But apparently he's releasing a Jesus, like
He's releasing
a Christmas one, isn't he?
Christmas Day, which I forgot about until you just mentioned them. Thing with that, right, is again, like Aidan said, I can appreciate it, and that's fine. Like, musically, it's a good piece of work. And if you were to take away the hip hop genre, which probably everyone's tagging it with, which is not, and you whacked a gospel genre on it, you're probably talking like one of the best gospel albums of the year. Big up Shotgun the Gospel, the
What
That
are
being
the-
said, though, like,
what are we
I'm
doing?
just getting you a beer, man. But that being said,
Oh,
though,
thank you.
you wouldn't like. Do you listen to gospel music besides that? Though?
But that's the
So
thing.
How would you
well,
know?
What are the gospel albums? Can you
But
name?
this is what I mean. There's probably loads of gospel albums that come
Yeah,
out
yeah,
because
yeah.
we don't listen to gospel actively.
Yeah,
we just
yeah.
assume that Kanye's is the best.
Yeah.
Have you ever
for sure.
listened
It's probably
to
like fucking lower ranking gospel shit.
Yeah.
like Moses Parts Water? Have you ever listened to that, bruv?
No.
No, you haven't. Yeah, so sit back down.
Yeah, listen to Kumbaya, my lord.
Are we just gonna?
Yeah, we'll
Pause.
carry. We'll carry on. But no, I think Kanye's album, man, it was just. I generally believe that. And thing is, I think with Kanye, and I generally believe this, to have an opinion on Kanye, you've also got to slightly. Thank you very much, Tom. You've also got to slightly educate yourself. So, in what I mean by that is maybe watch a couple interviews with him.
Yeah.
Find out where his head's at the time to find out, you know, whether you can take this album seriously. Because, so, going off the back of that, did you see the Netflix thing that he was in? I can't remember who it was, but it was some guy that was interviewing people, guy with a big fucking beard.
Rick Rubin.
Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah, so he's interviewing people on Netflix, and he interviews Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of you get a bit of a deep dive into his head.
Yeah, it's
and you
psyche,
can
man.
find out because I first listened to that album and I thought, do you know what? I genuinely believe Kanye is at the point where it feels like he's not putting effort into it. Because don't get me wrong, there wasn't much lyrical technique in that. It was very, very hymny. And do you know what? I feel like it was just filled with just hooks. It wasn't filled with like verses. It was just filled with like choruses and hooks.
Yeah.
You know? But I think that if you, but then I think I watched like an interview of him. Do you know what it was? It was the James Corden thing that he did in the plane.
That?
You
That was
watched.
incredible.
I watched that, right, and you get more of a glimpse into him, into where his head is, and you actually think, okay, right. You can actually understand that he is actually.
A crazy person.
He's but he's taken. But this is him.
No. What it boils
He's
down
taking
to-
it very, very, very seriously. And if you actually then going back to what I said previously, an album that you're not going to bump all the time, but an album that you're gonna rate in terms of this is the best that someone can put out.
Yeah.
You can to an extent start to appreciate it. I'm not justifying it. I still didn't enjoy it.
Don't get me wrong, man. Like, and this is the thing. I think there's a lot of, and especially in like the UK hip hop fandom, kind of like, I guess, realm. Like you almost kind of like, as soon as Kanye drops something, the typical UK hip hop fan would be like, you know, I don't want to listen to it. And it's just like, I'm not like that. I'm not like naturally. I'm not initially kind of standoffish because it's Kanye. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm actually quite intrigued to hear what he drops when he does.
Give it all a
Do you know what I mean?
chance, innit?
Because he is like a fucking sick producer. He's got a really, really like keen ear for music in general, and I think he's like made some incredible music over the years. It just wasn't like my thing. That's all I'll boil it down to. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh yeah, like it's so shit. It's shit. Why is people so outraged? Like who cares? Like okay, yeah, he's just dropped a fucking gospel album. Like that's it. That's all it needs to be.
I think the outrage comes from, I think this is kind of it with Kanye now. And if you're a fan of Kanye of old like me, that's gone, and it's just one of them, and it's like it's gone, and he will continue doing this until the Illuminati clone him again, and he goes on to his next height.
Until the Illuminati clone.
Well, that's obviously what happened. Come on, like he calls Jay-Z out. Jay-Z calls like Illuminati gets onto him, claims he's lost the plot, sends him away. Next thing you know, he comes out cloned mad. He's posing with Trump. You know, that's his clone.
Did
That's
you know?
Kanye. Kanye's probably sent to like Greece or something. He's probably sat in some.
He's chilling with Tupac, isn't he?
Yeah, we're in Greece.
Fucking Cuba. Did you know that Stormzy turned down a feature from Jay-Z?
Yes.
I did hear that. Yeah.
that's
What do you think about that?
I can't remember what track
Completely
it was for.
rate that. So it's for the
Depends. Like,
it was
did he
for
receive the feature?
It was for no.
Oh,
Jay-Z listened to the track.
Yeah.
It was the fucking what was it called? The London one.
Oh yeah.
So
What, the Ed Sheeran one?
yeah.
Instead he got Ed Sheeran off
So
the top.
Jay-Z listened through to the track, turned round, and do you know what? This is why I have the utmost respect for Stormzy as an artist. Jay-Z listened to the track, turned round, and said, you know, I want to be on this track, but Stormzy said, you know, no. Because but if you think about it, the nature of the track, why the fuck would you have a US person? Why would you have a
maybe
US?
like
But
maybe
that's
a remix or something? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, maybe jump on a remix.
And Stormzy said like in an interview, like Jay-Z is my favorite all-time rapper. When he said that, like I was gobsmacked, and
man.
I may never get the opportunity to have a feature from him again, but.
He will.
Well, we're talking
I
about the
think
Jigger Man.
Jay-Z, all his back catalogue's now on Spotify.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So, and like,
I was using Deezer for a
I
while, the
think
free trial.
that's another thing that annoys me, man. People who underrate Jay-Z in the sense that like they're like, oh, he doesn't have any, you know, like, oh, what are you on about? Like Jay-Z's not. It's like Jay-Z is fucking sick, and if you don't see that, then like there's something wrong with you.
You know, Rap Man, obviously Shari's Story, and then the biggest thing for this year is Blue Story. That's Shari's Story this year, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, it was because we were talking about it in the podcast.
Yeah, but wasn't it the year before though?
Was it? I don't know.
Nah. Shari's Story finished this year.
So
Oh,
it finished. It finished
When did
this
it
year.
first
So
come out,
it
though?
spans 2 years. But anyway,
I'm sure. No, because we started. We were talking
we were
about
talking
it on
about
the
that
podcast.
on
We
a
were,
podcast.
but like, It was
Oh,
only because I'd only just seen it and you boys had seen it before, but I think it was older than
It wasn't that much before. It was only a few weeks before.
Right, Jake. Fucking hell.
Aidan spotted it,
Rain
and it was
Man
on
over
BBC.
it.
It was on BBC News, wasn't it? I think it was this year. But anyway,
It says it was a year. No, April 18. So the first
so I
first
was
bit
right.
went out. Fucking hell, Tom. Right. So
all right, fucking.
Just
I think I just came
to
came
accept
through
it.
it just through listening.
Well, I
listening
think it
to,
was
like,
one of them where he put it on because I saw him on Russell
I was listening to a
Howard's
playlist and then it came up and then I watched it and I was like, shit.
Yeah,
This is mad.
I think he just uploaded it and it got a few listens and it kind of spammed.
Well,
from
no,
there,
it
and
was a GRM Daily, GRM Daily. So that's why. That's why it did so well because obviously GRM Daily. No, sorry, take that back. Link Up TV. Oops. So it was on Link Up TV, and obviously they've got a huge following, so it's bound to get views. But it just skyrocketed.
So I think it was big this year, and obviously led to Blue's Story. But Rap Man is signed to Rock Nation. Jay-Z FaceTimes him, and there was like a sick story about it. But he's signed to Rock Nation, and then today I saw on Rap Man's Instagram picture of him and Jay-Z. I can't remember what the caption was, but one of those kind of like something's coming with the eyeball kind of thing.
Really?
It didn't say that something's coming, but it along those lines. You know what I mean? Like to say something's coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Teasing at something.
Teasing at something,
But
yeah,
that kind of falls into like the fact that Drake has done a lot for the UK scene in terms of revitalising Top Boy. Isn't
It's
it?
weird how that's like really like it's kind of polarized opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like there's some people on the kind of pro Drake camp in terms of like it's really good what he's doing for the UK scene, and then there's other people who are like, oh, he's a fucking culture vulture, he's a biter. Do you know what I mean? It's weird, isn't it? It's like there's definitely like, and we've learned that through speaking to various guests on the podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is like by doing some kind of analysis based on that.
Seems a bit
Some
like
people were
Marmite
like,
to some
fuck Drake.
people.
Other people were like, you know what? He's doing more for the scene than any of you people are in the UK. So it's kind of like, yeah.
I would agree with that. I think he is, and I think I don't really rate Drake's music. I'll be honest. I don't really listen to any of it at all.
but that's the thing. You can
Not my
separate
interest.
it, can't you?
I can separate it, but the fact that this guy is just thought, you know what? I'm in a position where I can pump loads of money into this.
Yeah.
Why the fuck wouldn't you? Isn't that the goal of most people to get fucking rich and then pump money to something that you love? You know.
That's true, man.
And I just like the stories, like you know that, like Dave, and granted, like he probably would have just got big off his own back anyway. But you know, it did kind of come from me anyway. Like I only heard of Dave because of Drake.
He got big from you.
Yeah, I only heard it because of Drake, and then when I saw Drake a couple of years ago, he brought Dave out, and I was like, oh, that's sick. I was like fanboying. But
Yeah. I think I came.
but I only
off
heard
with-
it and then I like because Drake was just listening to like a YouTube playlist of like UK stuff, and that song that he did a remix with, Dave's song, came on and he liked it and he's like, yo, what the fuck's this? And obviously it just happened like that, and it's kind of it's just kind of a sick way, and it's obviously that there's that love there.
All right, man. So like, Dave is your album of the year,
Yes.
unquestionably.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
hell,
man, so-
that was a long.
I think
Jesus.
before
A long
we
walk.
do wrap up entirely, like there was some kind of like honorable mentions or other albums we need to kind of like we can't gloss over.
Yes.
So you've got like Ocean Wisdom's album, obviously Big Talk Volume 1
Yes.
dropped this year. That's obviously his first album on his own when he's not with High Focus anymore. There were some kind of like subliminal digs on that album within some little skits with Seeper, who's what's his name from Seeper. So he's based MC Grinder
MC
from
Grinder.
People Just Do Nothing.
But
What did you boys think of that album?
Yeah, I like that.
You
Yeah.
liked it?
Actually, I was saying about things I've downloaded onto my phone from this year. That's one of them.
So this is Jake doing his homework live on the spot.
I've actually I think it was a good album, but I listened to the interview that did with No Jumper,
Yeah.
and I felt right that he had an opportunity where he was on a huge platform. No Jumper, I don't know how many probably upwards of 1 million subscribers. Or a lot of subscribers. He's got a huge following across the world, music wise. You know, he gets huge guests on that podcast. And I thought it was a shame that he didn't plug anyone from UK.
So
I thought it was a shame he didn't plug any UK rappers at all. And actually, did you listen to it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And actually, I think he said that to begin with, obviously he was dismissed, which I think that from what I hear, that was the case. Or he didn't. It took him a while to get into the UK scene. As with anyone, it probably takes a while to get into the UK scene because you do have to, put. It doesn't just happen. You've got to put on work. But I thought it was a shame that he didn't, given the opportunity, he didn't plug other rappers that he'd worked with throughout his first few albums. He didn't plug High Focus. Didn't plug any of the previous people he's worked with.
We said about
Don't
Drake
but
being
don't get me wrong. I did like enjoy the album. The album was a good album, but I just thought
that interview.
Yeah,
I just thought it was a shame that he didn't use that interview to actually maybe plug the people that he'd worked with previously.
Maybe
do you know what I
it's
mean?
the kind of thing that you'd see like now he's on the way up. Maybe in like say 10 or so years he'll have different views. You never know. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
But what you said 10 years.
Yeah,
Any more honourable mentions?
Yeah, so I think like obviously
I hear you, Tom.
So
I hear
obviously
you, Tom.
like Lee Scott just dropped a new album that came out of the blue.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard so far. Is just it's a really really solid album. I'm really enjoying that. So Jan Baxter released a book off Piste. I think off Piste. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly.
Piste.
But he released a book, and I think it flew out the window at High Focus, and it's like little hand illustrations and all that kind of stuff that he's done, little stories.
Mad.
Then he released like a 4-track EP to accompany the book of the same name, so like Off Piste. And you've got 2 features, you've got Lee Scott and you've got Dat Kid, and it's fucking amazing. Like Jan Baxter is kind of like one of those artists that's just, he just paints pictures with his words. Do you know what I mean? Like everything he's released has been like, even if it's not to everyone's taste, you can just appreciate how talented that guy is as a wordsmith. But the beats and the instrumentals on this 4-track EP, give it a listen, man. It is fucking amazing. I think it's called I think it's either like Drowned Dogs, and I think Dyke produced one of the tracks on it with that kid.
Okay.
I think it's Drowned Dogs. If I got it wrong, then fuck you, I don't care. But yeah, it's a really really solid little EP, man.
Yeah.
Also, Joey Parro, Victory Gin. That was a good little EP that came out, produced by Ill Informed. Obviously,
Right.
Joey Parro from Split Profits. Tough Boys, Bat Night. So that's Big Toast and Strange Neighbour, the Croydon lads.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fucking really solid boom bap album. I enjoyed that a lot. They released a couple of cool videos of that as well.
Sick.
But yeah, man, there's been so much coming out of the UK scene this year. And I think, obviously next year we got some big releases too, hopefully. But what are you guys anticipating? What are you boys excited for 2020?
For 2020.
You're getting married, aren't you?
Yeah, bro. September, bro.
Fucking hell.
September 3rd.
Mad thing.
So music-wise, also, I just want to shout out as well. We're on the music thing. So like Cosm and Mo Sick, obviously both like Bournemouth boys. Cosm's living in wherever London. He's London based now. So they got together for a weekend. They wrote, produced, and released an EP called Keys to the Flat within a weekend, and they dropped a video for that as well, and it's banging. And and I'm fucking gassed that those two boys are making music again, because they've been making music together for a long time. Back in the day, I think their styles and flows complement each other's really well. Cosm's album, Iron Statue, produced by G-Man, is due to drop next year, and it's got some like really sick features on there. As mentioned, the Posse Cut earlier, and others as well. And I think there's a lot of like good stuff, like Tenshu, who was on the podcast. His album's coming out.
Man, like Tenshu.
Live from the Crojo. Yeah, man, that guy's got bars for days.
Talented guy. For next year, listen, next year you better watch out, because Shotgun The Aux, we're coming. We've got some exciting content planned for next year. I'm not going to go into it too much, because it might not happen. But nah, check it. We got some big things planned for next year.
Yeah, man. Under promise and over deliver.
Yeah. You
Always do that.
better check yourself
real,
before you
man,
wreck
for real.
yourself, man.
Also, like Skirmish and Lazy Eyes, they've got some stuff cooking as well.
What, together?
No, man,
Oh,
no,
okay.
separate stuff, obviously. But yeah, there's
Separate pans, same
there's so much talent in this country at the moment, and they're all making amazing music. So everyone, go and support their stuff. Like, support it, honestly.
UK scene at a whole, where do you think it's at?
I think it's the healthiest it's ever been.
Healthy it's ever been.
I think people and the biggest learning curve for me is that like people are kind of open to change, and people are kind of like open-minded about music. Artists generally have like a really kind of like deep-rooted appreciation and respect for music as a whole, not just hip hop. And I love that, man. I think it's absolutely fucking sick. But before we like move on, I just wanted to see if I can find the listener shout outs in terms of the like albums of the year. I did write some of these down, so bear with me.
Big up yourself. Tom is gonna find your name, and then we're gonna shout you out.
Some of these are actually guests from the podcast as well.
Bit of a mix.
So we put the question out to the interweb and asked like what your albums of the year were. So we've got so Man Like Raiden, big up yourself. Initially said his own album, and I thought, well, it's very modest of you, mate. But then he was, he was gracious and said Eagle Court by Compound.
Okay. Yeah, I had a chat with him at the event about that, actually. Yeah.
So Mel said Somewhere Between by Lee Scott, and Confessions of a Crud Lord, which I think is like a lot of people's favourite.
Yeah.
Hip Hop of the Day is an Instagram account. Just said Dat Kid, Wishmaster, and the Macabre Brothers. It's obviously good.
Ooh.
Man Like Cosm, Bandana, obviously. Well, he just sent a zebra emoji, so I'm assuming that's what you meant, mate. So yeah, I'm with you there.
No, was it not the Zebra album?
The Zebra album. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's two. I heard it.
By the Doodletown Pipers. That was a Simpson reference.
It's just about animals, isn't it?
So so Charlie Hannum said Pathways by Verbs, and yeah, man, that's a
Dope album.
Sick choice. I think that album's really.
Big up,
I'm loving the summer vibes in that album. And he also mentioned Eagle Court.
Yeah.
Ruby GT at Ruby GT. Confessions of a Crud Lords. Man Like Bear also said Bandana. At Trackside Movement. Trips to the Medicine Cabinet by Sean Peng and Ill Informed. And yeah, man, that was a good one. He had some good features on there. Sean Peng is sick with it. Obviously, Ill Informed just he's just like probably one of the best producers in the world, let alone the UK. He's absolutely relentless with it. So I think that's a good shout. Be Vicious 55, Eagle Court. So another one for Compounds. So this is a good one. So Dan Clothing said the new Lunar Sea album very important, and we glossed over this, man, and I'm kind of annoyed about it because that album is sick. That album is fucking...
Okay.
Come on, Aidan, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. I listened to that album, and there was a bar in there that fucking... Oh, my days. I heard it, and I was just like, shit.
Did she give you a boner?
No, what are you talking about, you filthy bastard? So it was something like...
Did it give you the boner?
Oh, some do you know what? I can't remember the bio. Something like smoking all the ganja, like best friends like Joey and Chandler. That sort of something like that, man.
You
And
tweeted that, didn't
yeah. I sent a little tweet out there, thing, and and I just thought like, it was a. Let me see if I can find that bar, but it was a mad bar, and I really rated that bar. Effed up like I'm smoking this effed up when I'm smoking this ganja. The best buzz like Joey and Chandler.
Nice.
Episode over. To be fair, I thought that was a really good bar, and Lunacy is someone that's very consistent in terms. Like I think he can be very overlooked or underrated, or I think overlooked.
Do you know why though? It's because he's a battle rapper, and I think that a lot of battle rappers who because. I was watching Res One's podcast Green Brick the other day, and it was This and That Media.
Yeah,
I think that dropped yesterday.
Yeah,
and they were talking about battle rappers and stuff, and like Res was just like, oh yeah, it's gotten very like middle class. Like someone will be like, oh look at those nice shoes, let's go give me some twos or whatever, and he was just like, all right, and then fucking crap me up. But it's almost kind of like, because there's so many fucking battle rappers.
Yeah.
It's so oversaturated.
Yeah, of course.
You almost miss out the ones who genuinely are lyrical.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Lunacy.
yeah.
Like
You
Shot
do,
in
yeah.
Horror, obviously the bad example because people do recognise them. Tenchu, for example, as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's probably why, man. Like Lunacy has got bars.
Yeah.
He knows how to make a song. He's got he's a funny guy as well. He's got a lot of charisma. Just like the whole title of the track, the whole kind of like branding campaign, like him in a fucking dressing gown outside, like very important. So I thought that was just amazing. Do you know what I mean?
If you're listening, Lunacy, or anyone who knows Lunacy listening, we want you on next year. We want you on our guest list. Get you on the show. Get you in this living room.
Come on.
But
no, I really rated that album, and yeah, I apologise for not speaking about it sooner, because it is and was and will always be an incredible album. And I think you're very right. I think there's a line put under battle rapping that it's kind of like, oh, he's a battle rapper, but he's gone past that. He's put out a few albums since then, and
He's done that fire in the booth, didn't he?
Yeah, and there's loads of shit. There's always loads of tweets that say like, you know, when you go back to battle rapping, it's just like, fuck if I'm not. I'm not going back to battle
No
rapping.
point going
you know?
back to it though, is it? Really?
You've done it. You've killed it. What more is there to do for Lunacy and battle rap? He's done it.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
basically Lunacy is down as. I would put money on saying what I'm about to say is I think Lunacy did a lot for Don't Flop, and Lunacy is instrumental in the position that Don't Flop is in now.
of course,
In
man.
terms of not the fuckery that was done in it, in terms of the actual brand name.
In terms of building it up as like the face of battle rap. Yeah, because you ultimately you needed talented battle rappers, and he was always that kind of like person who didn't take himself too seriously, but he was like really technical with it. But because he had that kind of laid back
100%.
vibe to him, it wasn't too kind of, it was just funny, do you know what I mean? And that kind of...
It is entertaining, it is interesting.
Entertaining, exactly.
You know, it goes different levels, the flow constantly changes, the technique is constantly... The technique from... If you look at a rapper, or if you look at an artist, from their technique in the beginning to the technique at the end, or a technique in the most recent, like... And if you judge them by how much they developed, like... Lunacy's at the top.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like, Verb T is another rapper as well.
Yeah.
Verb T, like, if you look at his
well,
lyrical ability at the beginning, it's good. But then if you look at his lyricism, like now, like the actual trajectory that has gone is mad.
Yeah,
you know?
man. I think
You just did a little dance, and you.
I think Verb T as well is a good example because he's obviously like been around so long, and he's rapped about so many different things, like and he's always kind of true to himself. And it's the same with Lunacy. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of like, what you see is what you get. Do you know what I mean? And I love the kind of whole northern thing.
Don't you mean what you tea is what you get?
What you see is what you get. My God. So anyway, yeah. Back to the shouts. Lastly, you got .38 Spesh, the Trust tapes. It wasn't even close. This old Droog. So this old Droog is fucking sick, and I'm kicking myself for not bringing him up earlier in the podcast. He's kind of got the same cadence as Nas, but I think he's ridiculous. But right. So before we wrap up this festive special, right.
Jake is going to sing a song.
So anyway, before we wrap up this,
It was like you know when Maggie's about to sing in that future
Boys,
episode.
boys.
So first,
let's wrap it up, man. I've done 4 beers.
Wish you boys Merry Christmas. Aidan's pissed. So
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas all. Before we wrap
Merry
up,
Christmas, you filthy animals.
Got some shout outs. So like I guess like thank you. Want to shout out everyone who's kind of like followed us, supported us since we kicked this off earlier this year. Each and every one of you have a Merry Christmas, you filthy fucking animals.
That's rude.
Also, Aidan's getting brave. He's had 4 beers. Also, like shouts to everyone kind of like doing your thing. Like big up Height Apparel, and they're like a clothing label that you know, right?
Yeah.
big
My guy, my man, Height Apparel. Go check it out.
Yeah, man.
There'll be a link. Check the link below.
Big up More Superior Wear. Big up the fellow podcast doing their thing. Big up Crate 808, man. Like you're doing bits like fucking Pharaoh Monch on there, DJ Premier. Fair play, man. You're absolutely smashing it. Big up Res One and the Green Brick podcast. So stay tuned for that. We're making a little journey to Bristol next year for that.
Yes.
Big up to all the writers and the bloggers who fucked with us this year. Clifton Koch, Skids List, Hip Hop's Worst Critic, man. Like his reviews are fucking sick. Big up Bobby Boogaloo. Obviously, Boogaloo HQ's just opened up in Blandford.
Do you know? Right, a funny story about that actually.
Yeah.
I was at the compound event.
Yeah.
You know the one. Were you there as well?
I dropped you off, didn't I?
You dropped me off, yeah.
Yeah.
And you bet you. Fuck, Tom ditched me actually. Tom
There's
ditched me
only so
last
much
minute.
my wife will put up with in one day, man.
So yeah, Tom
So,
ditched me.
so just for context, I had like fucking Compound, Verb T, Rai Shabby, and fucking like, however other many
my
men in the
days,
fucking
man.
gaff during the day, podcasting.
You've had more before then, yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, so I'm stood at the event in compound just watching it. Some guy comes up to the side of me, goes taps me. You alright, mate? How's it going? I look at him, I was like, oh yeah, you're right, mate. And just got, I don't recognise the guy at all, and he starts just chatting to me, and he's chatting to me about Shotgun The Aux, and he's chatting to me about music. So I'm just like, but he's chatting like he knows me,
Yeah, probably because he does.
and I was just like, who the fuck are you? And he said it, and I realised it was Bobby.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fucking Bobby, but because I've never seen him without a hat, I didn't recognise him.
Oh, mate.
So
Like
he
you.
wasn't wearing a hat. And it was only about a couple minutes, and I was just like, "Oh shit, I know who you are."
Oh man, yeah, big up Bobby, man. So he's just opened up like almost like an emporium
Yes,
in Blandford, selling like vinyl, local artwork, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can follow him, Boogaloo Hip Hop. On Instagram. Also, big up Inner Method Records, local
Yes,
label
yes.
in Bournemouth. They've just dropped a single, Purples, which is fucking sick.
Yeah.
And they're also the boys who are behind and run the Move On Up events.
Yes.
So Move On Up are a kind of a local, I guess, group of guys who put on hip hop events here in Bournemouth. They saw some really, really sick acts so far, like the likes of Compound, Dat Kid, Verb T, Old Paradise, and then next year you've got like Ono Capono. And I think, yeah, they're literally making moves in Bournemouth, so big up to those guys as well. Obviously, big up Easy Life, big up Cosm, big up Mick Swagger, big up everyone like showing us love and supporting the podcast, and everyone,
up the Brick Sofa.
everyone fucking listening.
Green Brick.
Yeah, man.
Big up Green Brick.
So I like the fact we've built up a sense of community, and hopefully that will grow and continue throughout 2020.
For sure.
Got some big guests lined up. Just stay locked. And more importantly, man, just have a fucking good Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate or not. Have a good time of year. Spend it with your loved ones.
Happy New Year.
Peace, love, and gloves.
Yeah. That's a wrap. At Shotgun The Aux.